He's motherfucking. He's something funky. He thinks he's awesome.
Hey everybody, it's me, Undead Viking. I'm here to review a game for you. The game is called Medicine Whoops. And in Medicine Whoops, and this is from Analog Evolution Games, in Medicine Whoops, what happens is that each person plays a doctor, a surgeon, if you will. And you're all vying to cure and heal the most patients possible. And so what happens is that a patient comes into the hospital, and then after seeing what ails them, the doctors have to decide whether or not they think they can cure him. If they think they can cure him, they basically slap their hand down and they grab the patient. They're, okay, I'm going to heal a patient. And then you have a bunch of medicine cards in your hand that have different iconographies on them, like, you know, surgery and medicine and, you know, nurses and things like that. And the patient themselves has the different icons on the card that will tell you which cards you have to use to heal them. Now that all seems all well and good, but the thing is of course this is kind of a take that card game. So your best laid plans, the process you're going to be like trying to cure the patient or whatever, people are going to play cards and they're going to interrupt you and prevent you from that. And if the patient dies, of course, horrible things happen, and there's all kinds of crazy stuff that goes on during the game. It is definitely just a very lighthearted, funny card game. The descriptions of the ailments and also the quasi cures, if you will, plus the like whoops cards, that's when the medicine whoops comes in. They're all kind of funny and it's kind of hilarious. It's one of those, like I said, it's a lighthearted game, but it's got a lot to it. I mean, as far as a take that game, I found myself really enjoying the process of playing it. So why don't I show you how to play the old medicine whoops, and then we will come back here and I'll tell you exactly what I think of it. Alright, cool. Alright, here we have Medicine Whoops, and this is the entire game. You have one 6-sided dice for every single player. This is a game for 2 to 4 people. You have operating room cards, you have patient deck, you have some Medicine Whoops cards, and you have some doctor cards. To begin the game, everybody will get a doctor card, and this will be a type of specialist: trauma, burn, animal attack specialist, and disease specialist. Now, these cards will actually, the one above this line is the type of like injury or the type of cure that you have a bonus to. So you basically get +1 of this. This is the anesthesia. And then you get a -1. You got to have an extra 1 of the nurse, in this case, for the disease specialist. And so here, like with the trauma specialist, you need, they get an extra scalpel, but they have 1 less of the old injection here. So each person will get one of those. You deal them out randomly, or you could pick. It doesn't really matter. And after you have that, you can just keep that in mind. It also, depending the color of the trauma and what have you, that will actually coincide with the type of patient as well. And when you actually have the type of patient that matches up with you, sometimes when you run low on like certain things that you may need, like you get to reuse the operating room cards. That's like the tools that you have. You get to reuse your tools over and over. You never really discard them unless you want to discard them to get something else. But what happens is that sometimes you will have to like reuse something. In order for that to work, you have to roll a die to see if you pull it off. Now that actually is lucky. Normally it's just a 6. A 6 is what's needed to reuse it if you have to. But if your specialty happens to coincide with the patient, any even number actually would suffice as well. So what happens is that each person will get 7 of these operating room cards. I'm not going to deal out a bunch of cards. I just want to kind of show you. So like here's a robot nurse, and you can see the 2 icons up there. It's worth 2 nurses for that particular thing. And here's a sump pump, if you know what that is, if you have that in your basement, as I do. And that's like the suction that's needed during operating. Let's just see if we can find something like a broken glass. That's your scalpel. So obviously, and these have 1. And the more circles, obviously, that you have, the better the item. So, and then here you have a tuna can lid, or, and I'll actually like find something that's good. I actually think this is funny. The anesthesia, that's the hammer. It's worth 2. And so there's a lot of this. It's a lot of like little jokes and laughs, if you will. Whiskey. And here, let me find but you can actually, find here like an actual scalpel, which, is worth 3. So that's actually really good, obviously. So you have that kind of stuff, and it's funny, and it's humorous, but the most important thing, obviously, is the iconography and what you have. And then you also get 7 of those, and you also get a Medicine Whoops card. And these are things that you'll play to mess with people. And so, basically, if the patient has this icon on it, you can play this to basically say that they need to come up with another one. So, pop-out snake, novelty medicine bottle. So it wasn't really medicine, it was actually a pop-out snake. So, haha, that one didn't work, you gotta try again. Or you spilled a hot cup of joe on the patient, and then they're waking up from their anesthesia. There are also things that you can do that allow you to steal a tool of your choice during the operation. You just get to take something from them so they don't get to use it. And of course, the always funny squirrel in the trousers. And obviously that's going to make you tougher to actually dissect somebody. Now, when you play a Medicine Whoops card, the most Whoops cards that can be played on somebody is 2 total. So everybody just can't keep dropping whoopses on people. And remember, you have to, whatever icon is on the Medicine Whoops card has to appear on the patient as well. So, now, the patients. How do you actually get the patient? Well, patience, yeah, anyway. What happens is that you have this card and there's a 2 there, right? So, each person has to take their die. This is the first round. Each person takes their die and they have to roll their die until they get a 2. And as soon as, and then I'm going to keep talking here, so I got a 2. And so everybody else will go, and the last person to get a 2 doesn't get they slept in, and they don't get to take part in this operation. Now, going forward, that always won't be the case with the die roll. If you are the person that was trying to operate and the patient dies, either because your own ineptitude or because somebody played Medicine Whoops cards on you, then the patient dies, then you have to be the person that flips the card over. So, in this case, what's going to happen is somebody's going to flip this card over. They're going to flip it over and it says Hydrorotundity. Now, before we go any further, here, I'm just going to show you this. You will notice, for one, it has the same color as the disease specialist. Let me just show you that so you can see that. So here's the disease specialist. So it has the same color. So this is a disease patient. So the disease specialist might be feeling good about this one. And it's Hydrorotundity, and these are the icons you need. Now the size of the icons don't matter. They're just on there. And so you have to have this medicine, 2 scalpels, a nurse, and suction to pull this off. And so the person that had to flip it over flips it over. And everybody has 10 seconds to decide whether or not they think that they can cure this patient. Now, with 2 players, it isn't just one person. Actually, with the person that flips it, they get to actually work, try to save the patient as well. It isn't just with, but with 3 or 4, the person who flips it doesn't have to. Can't, I shouldn't say. So, the moment that you think that you have the right cards that'll allow you to save the patient, you slap your hand down. Now, the rules say to slap the hand down on the card in the middle, so if you're close enough, you can, but we've played just slapping the hand on the table, and that works pretty well, and we can usually judge who does it first. Now, if in 10 seconds, nobody does that, nobody decides, everybody looks at their cards and says, I can't heal them, I'm not going to try, or whatever, then everybody has to go golfing. And then what happens then is everybody rolls a die, and whoever rolls the highest gets to steal one random card from somebody else, and see what they can get. But anyway, so it was just kind of cool that, doctors going golfing because they didn't want to report to duty that day and work in the operating room. But so what happens then is the person that says, I'm going to heal this person, they're going to start laying their cards down. So maybe they have this scalpel, and they can say, well, there, I'm going to play the scalpel. Remember, they have 2. And let's say it was the disease specialist, and that depict it. But, they have an extra one of these, but a -1 on the nurse. So they got to come up with 2 nurses to pull this one off. But there's no anesthesia in there, so they don't have to do that. So, luckily maybe they have, this butcher that's, a 1 nurse, But remember, they still need one more. And so they then are going through it. You have to actually, one of the things, the rules is that you can't, like, skip ahead. You actually have to say, okay, I have a scalpel, and I'm going to, like, and that's it. Now you've taken care of all of your scalpels that you need. Now you have to play all your cards that are nurses. So then they have the hobo nurse, and they play that one as well. So now they've taken care of their nurse. They need to come up with the medicine, and so they happen to have whiskey, and they play that one down. And they need suction, and they have the crazy straw, and they play that down. Now, if nobody played any whoops cards or anything on them, at this point they have healed the person of hydrorotundity, and they can turn the card over like so and put that in front of them, saying they scored 2 points. If the person died, they'll flip it like this, meaning that they have -2 points for that particular person. Now, if also, now this is where the whoopses come in. If we had played all those cards like so, and they're out there, and as they're being played, a person with a whoops card, like from the very beginning, like if they put down that scalpel, they could go, sorry, squirrel in the trousers, you got to come up with 2 more scalpels, before you can even move forward. Because, they've got 1 left, so they've got 1 taken care of, they need 1 more, and so the person would have had to, like, come up with another sharp object. So maybe, hopefully, luckily, they had broken glass, so they could play that as well. And then, they keep going forward, they got their nurses, nobody plays anything. And remember, you can only play 2 whoops cards at any given time. So you can't, you can't drop like 17 whoops cards on the person. But so they're doing that. They have the whiskey, and then somebody goes, hand slap, and then medicine whoops. So you got to come up with another, medicine to save them. So if they don't have one, now that's when they'd actually have to roll the die to see if they could, pull off, beating the whoops card. In this case, they need a 6, and I didn't get it. And so then the patient would die. But if they, once again, if they did manage to have, more medicine or whatever, here, I'll just see if I can find one real quick, and they can keep, doing it. So maybe they had, the herbs or whatever that they'll use, and then they finally then played the crazy straw, which allowed them then to heal the patient. And then they can once again take it. Now, this isn't a game where you have to get rid of the cards you used either. The whoops cards go away. They'll go, into the discard for the whoops cards, like so. But if you played, these are your cards that you had in your hand for this particular patient. You would take those cards and you put them back in your hand. After the round is over, if the person got healed, then you're going to have to roll the dice again to turn over, the next patient or whatever, which is a simple one with a 1. The numbers usually mean they're more difficult. So like a severely bruised feelings is a nurse and medicine, but like you notice this, tarmac nap, they got a ton of stuff that they got to heal on that one. But they're worth more points, obviously. But at the end of that turn, everybody can then draw 1 card, either deck, operating, or whoops. And if they want, they can discard 2 operating room cards and draw 1, or 2 whoops cards and draw another one. You have a maximum card limit, hand limit of 10, and so it's always good to have, and that's both types of cards. And all together, you can have 10 cards total. Now, it's always kind of a thing that when we've played is that it's good to have lots of these, but it stinks not to be able to mess with people as well. So you kind of have to have 1 or 2 of these in your hand at all times. But, of course, that takes away from the total number of tools that you have at your disposal as well. The game lasts as long as you decide how many patients you're going to heal. Like you're going to go through 10 patients, 20 patients, whatever. And then as soon as you get through all your patients, you total up the number of points that you have. And then whoever is the most successful doctor is the winner. And there you go. So it's really quick to teach. There's a couple of wrinkles in there, but it's pretty straightforward. And before you know it, after you've opened up the game, you'll be killing off patients in the operating rooms by a score, and having lots of fun at your friend's expense as well. So, well, let me tell you exactly what I think about the game in my conclusion right now. Alright, there we go. That's how you play Medicine Whoops. Now, this is obviously kind of a filler game. It's kind of a light-hearted take-that game. And it really fits my group really well. This is the perfect game that we play for when we're waiting for those last 1 or 2 people to show up so we can play our 6-player game of Game of Thrones or something. We need something quick, we need something lighthearted, and we need something that everybody knows how to play or can be taught how to play in just a couple minutes, and everybody can just relax and have a good time. But that being said, it isn't like a really simple game either. There's like things you have to decide. There's hand management issues you have to wage through. There's definitely, like, when you see the iconography, you got to figure out whether or not you can take care of it right away. And sometimes you gamble, saying, "Yeah, I think I can," and you put your hand down. I mean, definitely as the game, is winding down, and like, there's like because the higher the number here, the more stuff you need. And so like you see the 2, and then the person flips it over, and like we'll slap our hand down really quick, and then we'll realize, shoot, I don't have enough, stuff in my cards, that they can handle that. So there's that aspect. There's like, like I said, there's like that like kind of pushing your luck kind of aspect to it. And then, plus, it's just, the more it seems like, whenever you throw the whoops card on somebody and kind of screw over their plans, it's going to come back, 3-4-fold on you, especially when you get close to being the winner. But the thing is that this, a lot of these games have a problem with like a gang up on the leader, and we never really noticed that. Maybe it was just because even though like maybe somebody could mess with you a little bit or whatever like that, you could, if you prepared yourself, like with the right cards, you could kind of combat. It wasn't one of those situations where if everybody tried to like have at you, if you will, you could fight back a little bit. You could power through the obstacles that they put in front of you. So, it doesn't have that problem that a lot of these take-that games has. So, all that being said, I think if you can dig the theme, like if you're somebody who watches those doctor shows, my wife does all the time, and she really enjoys them, and if you can like just kind of let yourself enjoy the fact that this game is going to be a lot of cursing and yelling and good-natured screw jobbery and backstabbery, then I think you're really going to enjoy Medicine Whoops, especially because like if you're looking for like that cool little filler game that you can just throw in your backpack game night, or take it to work and play it over lunch or something like that, I think this is definitely something you'd want to check out. So, as always, thank you very much for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any questions about the game, please ask away. I'd be happy to answer those to the best of my ability. And until next time, you have yourself one heck of an awesome day. All right, bye-bye now.